Okay, so we're going to start a new topic this morning. We're going to look at something called directed numbers. Now, you may not have heard them called this before, but you have probably heard them called positive and negative numbers. That's right, and negative numbers. Now, directed numbers, obviously, it's about the direction that the number goes on the number line. So we've already drawn our number line and we've got 0 in the middle. So we're going to label it with the integers. Who can remember what integers are? Whole numbers, good girl. Okay, so I'm going to do my positive numbers in blue and my negative numbers in red. Okay, you can do them in whatever colour you want. So, positive numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to actually extend my number line slightly so that I get to 10. 0 is in the middle, obviously, but you have to have 0 because 0 is a placeholder. Okay? And then going in the opposite direction, so the negative direction, and I'm going to do those in red. We've got -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. Now I'm also going to put a little arrow on the end of the number line, like this. Does anybody know what that arrow might mean? Mackenzie?
That the number line just keeps on going.
Good girl, it means that it keeps on going, okay? So, obviously, the number line here will carry on going in a positive direction, and this number line, this side of the number line will keep going in a negative direction. So there are two things when we think about positive and negative numbers or directed numbers. There are two real life applications that really help you to understand when you're adding and subtracting and whatever. And one of them is money and one of them is temperature, okay? Money is really useful because actually you'll be using money all your life. Now, if you've got a bank account, where would you rather your balance be? Would you rather your balance be on this side of the number line or that side of the number line? Molly?
The positive.
Oh, the positive, absolutely. You don't want to be on the negative side of the number line, do you? Because that means that you owe money to the bank, not you've got nothing in your account. In fact, the reason that I've done the numbers this colour is because if you do have a bank account and you go below 0, it's called being in the red.
I thought it was debt.
It is a debt, yes, but it actually is also called in the red. And the reason for that is nowadays, obviously everything's done electronically, but when banks and accountants and everyone did everything by hand, everything was written in a big book, really big book called a ledger. You might have heard that word, a ledger. That's in fact where, have you heard of Heath Ledger, the actor?
Yeah.
That's probably because one of his ancestors was one of these people who wrote in the ledger. And if you were putting money into the bank, they wrote it in black. And if you were taking money out of the bank, they wrote it in red. Okay. Now, two words that you also need to know for that. There's one, it's called credit, and one is called debit. Credit means putting money into the account. Debit means taking it out of the account. So, what we're going to look at on the number line, we're going to look at counting backwards and forwards on the number line. And then we're going to look at adding and subtracting on the number line. Okay. So, let's start in the positive, it's much easier. If I'm at 1 and I count on 5 integers, where will I be?
6.
6, absolutely. It's dead easy, isn't it? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 plus 5 is 6, that's right. If I'm at 3 and I count on 6 integers, where will I be?
9.
Good, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're ended up at 9. Okay. Now, let's have a look at this one then. If I go to the other side of the number line and go to -6, so say for instance, let's use it, the money or the temperature example, it's -6 overnight. Place like, you know, Switzerland or Austria in the winter, it gets very cold like that overnight.
Russia.
It's negative, Russia indeed, yeah. But what do we do about cooling out? Hands go up, don't we? So, -6, the temperature rises 5 degrees. Now, the word rises will give you the clue which way you need to go on the number line. Are you going to go the negative way or the positive way if your temperature is rising?
Positive one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at -6 and the temperature is going to rise 5 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's the temperature now? -1 or -1, that's right, okay. So, temperature money, very useful. I have $3 in my account. Unfortunately, I'm Mrs. Richmond, not Mrs. Not Richmond, okay? I have $3 in my account. And I spend, I'm very naughty, I overspend. I spend $6. Well, I haven't got $6, have I? I've got $3. But I spend $6. What's going to happen to my balance? Alex.
It's going to go into the negative.
Good.
side.
Can you count it for me then? So I'll move and you count $6 I'm spending.
2,
1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's right, end up at -3. Now, you do have to count, Zach, 0, okay? You must count the 0. So you don't go 1, 2, 3 and hop over the 0. The 0 is a placeholder, okay? Right then, so what's my balance now then, did we say?
-3.
-3. So put your fingers on -3 on your number line. Now, my bank manager's not very happy with me. He said, Mrs. Richmond, you need to put $10 into your account. So I credit $10 into my account. Where will my balance be now? Kevin?
Going to positive.
It will. So shall we count it then? You count it for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So where am I? +7, okay? But then again, I'm always spending too much money. So I spend $8. Where am I now? Mackenzie? -1, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -1. I'm getting nearer 0. My bank manager's a bit happier with me. I'm not quite so much in debt. But then I just think, oh, well, I'm only $1 overdrawn. I know what I'll do. I'll buy myself another cup of coffee. $5 more. Where will I end up? Jack?
-6.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -6 or -6. Okay, so when we add something, we tend to move in this direction. So adding, we move in this direction. If we're adding positive numbers. Taking away, we move in this direction. So what I'd like you to do then now is think about this. 5 take 7. Write that one down for me. 5 take 7. So put your finger on the 5 on the number line. And then count. You've got to take away 7. So which direction are you going to go in? Chase?
That way.
That way, that's right. We're going to go towards the negative. So count 7 on the negative direction. Where do you end up?
-2.
-2, that's right. Okay, so now we're at -2. So let's say we're at -2. And we're going to add 6 to -2. We're at -2, we've got to put money into our account, or the temperature rises. Where will I end up then? -2, and I've got to add 6. So think about which direction.
You did 4.
4, well done, is 4. Okay, let's have another try. We're at -6, and I'm going to add 6 to it. I'm at -6, so think about where -6 is. And I'm going to add 6 to it. Blake?
0.
Good boy, 0, we're at 0. Because we have to count 0, don't we? Because that shows you why, because the answer to that is 0. Okay, now this one, I'm going to see if you can do this. So we're at -2, and I'm going to take away 5. So think about in terms of the weather. It's -2 degrees, and the temperature drops 5. You're $2 overdrawn, and you spend $5. Tell him.
7.
At 7.
-7.
Ah, -7. That's right. You have to be really careful with those. -7. Now, you will see negative numbers written in slightly different ways. I'm going to show you all the different ways you might see them. So, just like I've been doing it there, you might see -7 like that. Okay? The negative's next to it, it's a big one, and it's in the middle of the number, and it's like that. Some books print them like that. The negative's kind of at the top. Okay? Not very often, but you can see them like that, so I don't want you to get confused. And then there's also this one. Now, don't get that confused with BIMDAS. It's not really like a bracket in BIMDAS. What do you think the bracket's telling you there?
It's not something -7.
No, that's right. It's not something -7, it's -7. So it's telling you that the negative belongs to the 7. It's just to make it clear, because say, for instance, you've got something like -7 take -7. You've got lots of negatives hanging around, haven't you? If you put brackets on it, it just makes it look a little bit clearer. Okay, so we're going to do some adding and subtracting. So, 3 take +4. Okay, 6 take -3. Now, there's another word that you need to learn. This word here. Zach, put your iPad down, please. Adjacent. Does anyone know what the word adjacent means? I'll give you a bit of a clue. Talon is adjacent to Jessie.
What?
Zach is adjacent to Casey. I am adjacent to no one. Casey's not your name, is it? Sorry. Miss Hudson. Remind me. Cassidy, of course it is. I'm sorry. I missed out the id. Okay, I'm adjacent to no one. Blake is adjacent to no one. We're all sad, lonely.
Yeah.
Okay, Molly is adjacent to Zane.
No, Mrs. Richmond.
Phoebe is adjacent to Lachlan.
No.
Emma,
Next.
next to. It means next to. Okay. So write this down. Adjacent means next to. Okay. Now when we were doing this, we did 3 take 6 and -2 plus 3. The signs were not next to each other, were they? You've got negative on its own, because the +3 there that we don't normally write, but we do, it is there really, but we don't write it, is there. They are not next to each other, are they? These ones are not next to each other, but look at the top 2 examples. What about these 2 and these 2? Tell me about those. Alex?
In that song, they're the exact same, but in that song.
They're adjacent, yeah, and they're adjacent. So here you've got the negative and the positive next to each other. Here you've got a negative and a negative next to each other. Now, does anybody know what happens when you've got the negative and the positive next to each other? They have a bit of a battle, okay? Who wins? Marshall.
Positive.
Yes. So, no, actually it doesn't. Sorry, no. Negative and positive, you chop away the positive because the negative wins. Okay? So here, if you've got something like 3 take positive 4, the positive goes because the negative beats it. So 3 take positive 4, what would that be? Look at it on your number line.
1.
Look at it again. 3
0.
take 4. Put your finger on the 3, count back 4. Talon. Negative 1, that's right. What about this one? 3 take 6. Negative 3. What about this one? Negative 2, add 3. 1, that's right. Now we've got this one here, haven't we? 6 take negative 3. Now, what do you think the answer to that might be? We're here at 6, and we've got to take away a negative 3. We're not taking 3, we're taking away a negative 3. Who has an idea of what the answer might be? Talon. Anyone else? Chase, what do you think it, you think it might be 9?
Negative 9.
Negative 9, okay.
Definitely
9?
9. 6, 9. It would be 3.
You think it'll be 3, okay, because 6 take 3 is 3, that's right. Anyone else got any other ideas? So we've had negative 9 as an answer, 9 or 3. Has anyone got another answer that they think it might be? Negative 3, you think it might be back down to negative 3. Okay, well the answer is actually 9. Okay. Now this is one of those times when it's what's called counterintuitive. It means that it kind of doesn't really make sense and you just have to accept that it's the truth. You've got 6, take away negative 3. Now, I want you to put your 2 arms like this for me, okay? These are 2 negative signs, okay? Negative 1, negative 2. What happens when they are next to each other doesn't happen if they're not next to each other. I'll show you some examples of that in a moment. But when they're next to each other, they become positive, okay? So 2 negatives become positive, okay? Do it again. 2 negatives become positive.
That's a tie.
We have to be a ninja, yeah. 2 negatives become positive. So, let's just see. We're going to have some ones with 2 negatives, but you have got to decide whether the negatives are next to each other, adjacent or not. So we've got negative 6, take 3. We've got negative 6, take negative 3. We'll have negative 6, oh no, let's have negative 3, take 6, and negative 3, take negative 6. Okay, so write those ones down for me. Negative 3, take 3. Go on to another page and turn it round. Negative 3, take 3. Negative 6, take 3. Negative 6, take negative 3. Subtract negative 3. Negative 3, take 6, or subtract 6. Negative 3, subtract negative 6. Now, would it make it easier if we put the brackets like that to show that the negative belongs to the number? Would that make it easier?
Yeah.
If you think it does, put them in. So, first of all, we're just going to decide, are the signs adjacent? Are they next to each other? Are those signs adjacent? No. So they're not adjacent. What about these ones? Are the signs adjacent? Are they next to each other?
Yes.
These signs, are they next to each other? No, they're not adjacent. This is the biggest, students get in a real pickle with this sometimes because they see 2 negatives, they think, oh, it makes a positive. but it doesn't if they're not next to each other. So you have to remember that. Here you go. Are these adjacent? Yes, so they are adjacent, aren't they? So that means they become a positive, because we've learned that. Are these signs adjacent? Yes. So these signs become a positive as well. So this one, -6, we're right down here. And I've got to take away 3. Which direction am I going to go? Point everyone, the direction I've got to go. That way, yes. 1, 2, and then obviously I've not got it because it's not on the number line, but what will my answer be? -9, that's right, -9. Here I'm at -3, -3, and I take away 6. So it's -3 degrees, the temperature drops 6, or I'm $3 overdrawn and I spend $6 more. Which direction am I going to go? Point everyone. That way, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to write -9 there, because then we've got it. So that one is also -9. Now here, I'm at -6. That's right back here. And I've got to take away -3. But what happens with the two takeaways next to each other?
You add them.
They become a positive. So with which direction am I going to go in?
Positive.
That way, yes. So 1, 2, 3. So -6 take -3 is -3. Okay. Now then, I'm at this one. -3 take -6. -3. I've got to take away -6. So what have I got to do because the two signs are next to each other? Caitlin? Turns it into a plus. So -3 plus 6. Which direction? That way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that answer is 3. Okay. So when we add and subtract negative and positive numbers, the answer can be negative or positive. I can't say to you the answer will always be negative or the answer will always be positive because it depends on the size of the numbers. So say, for instance, I have 10 takes 7. Is that going to be positive or negative?
Oh, positive.
Positive. 10 take 7 will be 3, won't it? It's positive. What about 7 take 10? Negative, because the second number's bigger than the first one. So you've got to go into the negative. What about, you can't also say, oh, if you add 2 numbers, the answer will be positive. 3 plus 3, positive or negative? Positive, 6. How about -8 plus 3?
Negative.
Yeah, it will still be negative, won't it? Because we haven't added enough to it. So you can't just think, oh, well, if I add it, it'll be positive. If I take it, it'll be negative. It's not like that. You have to think about the numbers. Okay?